Hello, my name is Claire, that's Haudra and Natalie, and for our CS310 final project, we came up with an app that uses the Spotify API, and our name is SongSpot. So first, I'll go through a general overview of how our app works with all the different pieces fitting together. In the middle, you'll notice our EC2 server is running our main.py, and on the left side, it goes one directionally to the config file first. This contains all of our credentials, and it also goes one directionally above to Amazon RDS, which contains our playlist data, our songs data, and so RDS will communicate directly with main after this loop. Similarly, from config, it'll go one direction to OAuth, which is a security interface that Spotify uses. Then we'll go to the Spotify API, and then the API and our server can interact directly. This allows us to make calls to the Spotify API for the person that has logged in using OAuth. And then our client SongSpot is run on a Flask app, and the Flask app and main.py can communicate with each other. Here's a closer look at our OAuth. So you can see that we have a config file that matches the previous projects, and this will securely log in the user using our app. Now I'll start with the more simple ones, or the more simple functions. So functions 1, 2, 3 return the top data from our logged in user. So if it's 1, 2, or 3, the user will see their top 10 artists, their top 10 tracks, and they will have a genre analysis based on those two things. And Haoja will now take over and talk about our more complicated functions.
Okay, now I will talk about command 4 to 6. For command 4, we'll analyze the popularity of users' music taste. We're getting the top artists and tracks from Spotify. Then we calculate the popularity score based on these two parameters. We can get the popularity of artists, tracks, and overall popularity for the users. For artists and tracks, we take the sum of the popularity score and then divide by the number of artists or tracks to get the average of the popularity score. And then for overall popularity for users, we just add in the artists and tracks popularity score together and then average them. Here is part of our code to show how do we calculate average popularity score. Okay, for command 5, we are generate recommended playlist of new songs for users based on their music taste. And we also check the recommended song exists in the database or not, which means if they have been already recommended before or not. If so, the system will generate a new song to recommended list. Also, player can determine how many songs they want to generate. All right, here is a code for how do we generate the recommended list. You can say we loop through the recommendations and check if the song has not been recommended before, we just add it to the recommended list. We loop this recommendation until we got the number of users want. Also, we added this playlist to our database table. For command 6, we access the RDS and print out all generate non-duplicate recommendation songs to users. And then users have the choice to decide whether they want to add this playlist to their actual Spotify account, which is pretty cool because you can just use our project to generate a playlist based on your own music taste and adding them back to your real Spotify account. Natalie will show you how this works in our demo very soon. Okay, that's all about our command line presentation. I will hand to Natalie and she will show our demo.
So now I'm going to take us through a demo of our application. As Claire mentioned earlier, our application runs on an EC2 server that's connected to a Flask app. This is just an overview of the EC2 server, which has an automatically assigned public IP address, which I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to my terminal, which has already been logged into our server and has a virtual environment with all of our Python packages. So you can see it has our config file and our main.py file, which I'm going to run. So Python 3. This starts our Flask app, and I'm just going to, in incognito mode, just connect to our public IP address. Here it's going to prompt me to log into Spotify. I'm just going to log in with my account. And now it's loading. So now I'm going to go back to our Flask app. And here you can see these are our 6 commands that we've just talked about. So, first I'm going to go through each of them. So first, let's say long term. These are my top 10 artists. Number 2, let's say medium term. These are my top 10 songs. And then genres. These are my genres that are associated with the artists I listen to. And then for number 4, let's go to long term. These are both my artist popularity, my song popularity, and then my general popularity of my music taste. And then for 5 and 6, right now I haven't requested any recommendations. So if I try and access all of my recommendations for the session, it'll tell me that there are no recommendations available. However, if I then generate some recommendations, let's say short term and 10 songs. Here are some 10 recommendations based on my short-term music taste. And then now if I print out all of my recommendations, these are these 10 songs that were just recommended. They're slightly different order, but same songs. And then for now, I'm not going to add this to my account. And then if I generate 5 more, again, short-term, so 10. You can see that it'll generate 10 more, and these are different songs. You'll notice that none of these songs are the same songs. And now if I go back to print all recommendations, it'll print out the 20 songs that it recommended to me here. And now let's say I did want to add this to my Spotify account just to show you. This is my current Spotify account. It has my songs. And if I add this to my Spotify account, then it'll say playlist successfully created. And I can go here and see that my SongSpot playlist does exist with these 20 songs that were just created. And now, I can keep doing things, but that's all we have to demonstrate.
Okay, that is the end of our presentation and demo. Thank you all for listening and have a great summer.